Hi, guys, and welcome back to another edition of The Football Room, the number one podcast in Perth, where we talk about the Barclays Premier League. And joining me today, I've got Osama, who's become a staple of the show. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Life's good, man.
That's good. Good to see you. And we've got Colin returning again, and first time working with you on the show, Cole. How you feeling?
It's good to be back, mate. Good to be back. It's been a really good weekend.
It's been a really good weekend of some good football and some not so good football. Wins for Newcastle United, 2-0 victors over Crystal Palace. Callum Wilson coming back into the side and getting goals for them. Manchester City with the 5-0 victory against Burnley again at the Etihad Stadium. But we will start the show at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea played Tottenham. A lot of hype on the game. Jose Mourinho going up against Frank Lampard. Two teams that are seen as serious title contenders with Liverpool. And we got a 0-0 draw. Gentlemen, how'd you see the game?
I think from our perspective, I was quite happy with the result. I mean, if you'd have asked me this time last week, obviously I would have taken the win, but to come away with a point and still undefeated in 9 games, I think now, and going back to the top of the table, fantastic.
Yeah, Lloris did save you guys there. Plenty of times. We should have won the game.
Well, it's not about the how much you've got the ball, it's about what you do with it. And I think when I'm just looking at the stats here, and it'd a bit like the Man City game last week, where they dominated for large parts, but we hit them on the break twice. And at the end of the season, no one's going to be looking at the stats. They'll be looking at who's on top, who's second, who's third, who's fourth, and so on and so forth. So I think Mourinho's come in and he's just made us a really harder side to beat.
Yeah, it was really hard, breaking you guys down. You guys, the structure, everything, the park and the bus system, all of that, Mourinho just did what Mourinho did best.
It seemed like a very tactical game, especially in the first half. And I know you've been raving about how good your attack is. Do you feel Frank Lampard was a bit tentative? He was a bit conservative with his approach yesterday, or was Spurs just really good, and solid defensively?
Spurs actually played well defensively. We had a couple of chances. The offside goal with Werner, which was... Yeah, it was offside, but, at the end of the day, it was really hard breaking you guys down. A couple of good shots from us. The last shot that we had, which was from Mason Mount, I think it was.
Yeah, that's from Mount.
That was a good shot. Great save by Lloris. And also at the end there, Giroud nearly gave us the win after that header back from that youngster as well. So...
Cole, it was quite interesting listening to Jose Mourinho in the post-match comments. He was happy that they didn't lose, the Spurs, but he said he was also disappointed they didn't come away with the 3 points. Now, does that show a change of mentality when it comes to Tottenham under the Jose Mourinho regime? Because I think in the past, Spurs would have been happy with the 0-0 draw at Chelsea and come away with something. But Jose says, no, we're satisfied, but not fully satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for a number of years we've improved beyond belief, but there's always been this thing around when the going gets tough. I don't think we've managed to get, we haven't managed to get across the line apart from qualifying for the Champions League and getting to the final, of course. But as I said a few weeks ago, I don't think we could have tried an up-and-coming manager to come in. I don't think we could have got, say, an Allegri who hadn't managed, because I think we've been down that road. We've tried everything, and I think Mourinho's coming. He's not going to make us play sweep flying football every week. He sets his team up per game. So he will. If we're playing Burnley next week, we go out and we dominate, and our stats are up from 39% ball possession yesterday. That goes to 60, and Burnley are playing at 39%. So I think he specifically sets our team up to play each individual team, which is a structure that I think we needed. And yes, I think the mentality, with his track record, I don't think he would have had that success unless he was really good at motivating and getting guys to buy into his structure within the team.
I think from the outside looking in, and we spoke a lot on this show about Spurs. As a Spurs fan, what's the feeling like amongst you guys? Do you really feel you have the team now to take the title away from Liverpool this year?
That's a difficult question. I think the way we've been playing and the way that everyone's been playing, I think it's going to be a really interesting season. I'm hopeful. It'd be great for us to get across the line finally. But I think with every Spurs fan, I think there's still that element of doubt just going on what's happened in last 20, 30 years, you know. And incidentally, this week and one day that we've been on top is the first time in 35 years where we've actually had a sustained period of being top. As I said previously on the show as well, the two times that we were battling Chelsea and Leicester, we would never top for any period of time during those two seasons. So it's a fantastic feeling for me because it's been such a long time, and hopefully we can maintain. But I think it's going to be really competitive this year.
Yeah, and look, a nil or draw. We all like goals. We all like to see the excitement of the attacking display. But I think we have to give credit to some really, really good defending. And I think for me, I've said it plenty of times. Thiago Silva, in as much as you've signed all these fantastic attackers at Chelsea, I think Thiago Silva was your most important signing and probably one of the best signings of the season so far. Just how good is he, and is he going to be the person that makes the difference? Is he the final piece to Frank Lampard's jigsaw that is building at Chelsea?
Chelsea, please listen to me, yeah? Renew this man's contract, yeah? Because the way this guy's playing, he can hit 50 years old and he'll still be on top form. Still be in top form. He's the best centre back in the league right now.
Oh,
easy as that.
Oh, Malcolm, do you hear that? That's a statement.
Are you saying that because Virgil van Dijk's not playing?
Well, yes, because he's not playing, he is the best. But with Virgil van Dijk there's competition for who's the best, and it's really tough.
That's opened up a
That's
can
tough.
of worms there, my friend.
Silva, the best defender in the
Mate,
Premier
Thiago
League.
Silva might be 36 years old, but he's playing as if he's 22 right now for us.
I'll let you guys think what you will of that.
Mate, you guys coming down below. Thiago Silva.
Nah,
Who do you guys think the best centre back is in the Premier League right now? Excluding Virgil van Dijk.
So we're saying Van Dijk is the best, but you're saying Thiago Silva is the best currently playing.
Currently, right now, yep.
Right, we'll leave that up to the fans. I think.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see what people actually think of that, because I would say that he possibly is
To be
playing
fair,
at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely has improved that Chelsea team, and it's the final question that I do have for you guys. While I have you both here, Spurs, Chelsea, come the end of the season, who finishes above who?
I'll let the loser speak first.
I'm quietly confident that we will. I think we'll be top four for sure, and it's such a difficult season, you know, because there's no real home game, there's no real away game, and I just think I don't know, it's a really tough one to call, but I would say we'll be in the top four, and when it comes to the last month, if we're still thereabouts, Mourinho's got the pedigree to guide us through a series of 5 or 6 games to get the points needed if we're still in the running.
You're comfortable you finish above Spurs, aren't you?
Oh, me, 100%. I'm still, since the first episode, if you haven't seen that, go check that out. Chelsea's going to win the Premier League.
That's a statement.
You know, we actually have a thing where we made Osama dedicated himself to the fans and said, if Chelsea do not win the league, he is going to wear a Spurs top and take a lap of the whole of Perth City in the middle of the city.
Like it, and we'll definitely film that one.
Definitely film that
And if
one.
you guys want to come and join me for that run too, you guys can come down.
So from two teams in London that are doing exceptionally well to a team whose form has declined at quite an alarming rate. Arsenal, 2-1 loss against Wolverhampton Wanderers last night. Unfortunately, news has come through that Raul got a fracture. Is it fracture in his skull from that head collision with David Luiz? We wish him all the best in his recovery. Not something nice to see. But in terms of the game itself, Arsenal, again, Aubameyang, Lacazette, the strikers unfiring. Actually, Arsenal scored 10 goals this season in the Premier League. 8 of those goals came in the first 4 games. So they're really struggling for goals, and 14th on the table at the moment. After a decent start, where's it all gone wrong for Arteta?
I don't know. Did he have pedigree himself? You know, he's gone from Man City, where he may have just been putting out the cones as part of his role there. Who knows how much influence he had? And did Arsenal panic after Arteta? You know, speaking to some Arsenal fans that I know, and they were saying that Arsenal don't sack managers and this, that, the other. Goes that it's a different way of coaching now. You know, no one's going to get 5 years. You know, like Wenger, and they will just be on that rotation of managers. And I think this is just going to be the part of them joining the experiences that we've all had as supporters of our club, where you've had a manager and 2 years, 18 months, they're gone. I don't know. I think they've had a really good run for the Wenger years, and I think this may just be a natural cycle for them.
So do you feel at the moment Arsenal have to stick with Arteta, or is the pressure really mounting? Because it is their worst start to the league since 1981. So it's not good signs, is it?
Yeah, and based on when they were really challenging, you know, there was 2 or 3 clubs. Now there's, if you include Everton, there's 8. So there's no defined right for anyone to say we are this club and we need to be there, because there's clubs below that are just, you know, Leicester, Villa have had a good start. Everton have thereabouts. So I think they need to stay with him and just allow him to bring his methodology to the team and see what happens.
Osama, you talk about the attacking talents you have at your club at Chelsea, and look, I think Arsenal do have some pedigree of attacking talent. You know, Aubameyang doesn't just become a bad player overnight. He was Arsenal's top scorer last season, 27 goals, but just the 1 goal from the penalty spot, and hasn't scored a goal at the Emirates this season. Where's it all gone wrong in the Arsenal attack? Do they need to bring back Mesut Ozil from the cold? Because at the moment, their midfield doesn't look like creating any chances for the team.
Well, Arsenal plays with an attacking team. Like, they actually play attacking players when they play, because they don't seem to shoot. They don't seem to shoot. Well, with Aubameyang who?
But the most concerning thing for me watching Arsenal yesterday was I saw shades of the Unai Emery era, where players were not tracking their man. Defenders were standing off the attackers. There wasn't that impetus to get onto the ball and take on the game. And sometimes in football, that can be a reflection of the manager. Do you think the players are starting to lose faith in Arteta?
Yeah, I don't know. It's faith. It might be a confidence thing as well, you know, because like anything, if decisions or results aren't going your way, regardless of the tactics that the manager is putting out there within the first 10 minutes, if you fall behind or your structures within the game, and you know you miss a couple of chances, that can impact the way the whole team feels, and that could be a factor behind their current form at the moment. But it'd be interesting to see. I mean, we're playing them this weekend, so that will be a very tight game. I think they're going to raise their game for that for sure. And if we do end up winning that one, then they are 10 points behind us, or
just looking at it here. If Spurs beat Arsenal next Sunday, Arsenal will be 11 points behind the league leaders. With that bigger gap, Osama, do you feel at that point for Arsenal the focus should just be on trying to win the Europa League, or is it still too early? But I think 11 points is a big gap.
11 points is a big gap. Season's over for them if they lose against Spurs. Like, the only thing they're going to have to focus on is trying to get into the Europa League. With other teams and the strength of other teams in the league, Arsenal stand no chance of making the top 4 if they lose against Spurs. But with a win, we might see we actually might see an Arsenal comeback. We might not. You never know.
Speaking of comebacks, there was a great comeback yesterday from the boys in red, Manchester United. You know, while Arsenal are breaking records and having the worst start to their season, we're breaking records too in a good way. That was the first time in Manchester United's history we've won 8 games away from home in succession. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer breaking some records there for United. Looks like Ollie's back at the wheel.
Ooh, man.
Gentlemen, Ollie's back at he's back at the wheel. So that win yesterday puts United in 8th with the game in hand. If they win that game in hand, they go 3 points behind Spurs. Where are Manchester United at the moment? Because they seem to be so hot and so cold. You know, one week we're singing the praises of the manager. One week we have got no idea what the team is doing.
Yeah, it's just when you think that they're one game from disaster, they go and beat PSG away from home, or beat Liverpool, or do something that's not their form doesn't dictate. And when I did see they were on the cusp of getting 8 away victories, I was like surprised. I didn't even realise because they've been up and down so much. Again, I think they're a bit like the Arsenal, really, where you've had that structure of Ferguson of just complete domination. He leaves and you get into that rotation of managers coming through. And yes, you have won cups and stuff like that, but there hasn't been that that period of dominance that's there. So I think you guys are going to be in that cycle as well. But I think when you factor in, as I said before, that there's 6 or 7 teams now that are going to fighting for those places, I think it's going to be very difficult to take out Liverpool and Man City in the last 2 seasons that have completely dominated. But I think, as you can see now with the table, there's 2 or 3 points between six clubs.
Look, Southampton I thought were really, really good value. Man United did miss a few chances in the first half, but James Ward-Prowse was absolutely outstanding for the Saints yesterday. His technique and delivery from set pieces, for me, I think is the best I've seen from an English player since David Beckham. He's that good. James Ward-Prowse is that good. But one man that was very instrumental in that comeback was El Matador. Edison Cavani. We spoke about the old boys coming in on free transfers. Thiago Silva to Chelsea, Cavani on a free to Man United, and only just 33 years old. How big an impact do you think he can have for Manchester United this season?
Ollie just needs to give him a chance. They need to start him more often. Coming off the bench, you can see what he's doing. He's scoring goals coming off the bench. Imagine starting the guy. He will fire United back into the race. And yeah, he's a really good player. Showed his class in PSG. Superb player, I rate him.
I'm just looking at the Manchester United strikers here in the Premier League. Mason Greenwood, just a 1 goal. Marcus Rashford, 2 goals. Anthony Martial hasn't scored in the Premier League this year, and Cavani has already got 3. So I think moving forward, you'll find that Cavani will start to be the focal point of United's attack. But it wouldn't be a Manchester United victory or Manchester United game without the headlines grabbed by Bruno Fernandes, who scored his 7th goal yesterday, making him the top scoring midfielder in the league. Cole, just how good is Bruno Fernandes? Can we put him in the same bracket as Kevin De Bruyne?
Not just yet. He's got undoubted quality though. I mean, he's come into the league January last year, and generally, it takes a bit of time for some players to settle. But he's hit the ground running, and he's delivered since day one. And as you say about De Bruyne, he's been consistent for 4 years now at Man City, and delivers week in, week out. Not with just goals, but assists, and he's all-round game. Left foot, right foot, but Fernandes has definitely got the pedigree to be there. This time next year, if his form continues and he's that consistent and scoring goals, I think it'd be an interesting discussion.
His numbers though are just incredible, aren't they? Since he's been at United, the 31 goal involvements he's had. I think that's just absolutely outstanding. And for me, as a United fan, it's to get him for the amount that we got. That's 45 million pounds.
What a steal!
An absolute steal. And I think he'd get into most teams in the Premier League. Surely.
On current form, for sure. And I think we're going to go on to the Liverpool game. But Jota, I would say that another player he's had a couple of seasons in the division with Wolves, but that kind of form, players that can just pick up where they've left off at a new club, new country. That's just quality right there. These are top players.
With Bruno Fernandes as well, he's literally carrying Manchester United on his back.
Absolutely.
And he has no world-class players around him at the moment. Imagine him with world class players. This guy will top Kevin De Bruyne easily with world class players around him.
So is the key to Manchester United finishing in the top four,
Strength.
keeping Bruno Fernandes fit this
Yeah.
season? Because I don't think there will anyone is going to get quality players in
Yeah.
January. That's difficult to do. So Bruno Fernandes definitely the key to Manchester United having a good season.
100%.
Top four.
Maybe they might just creep into the top
Yeah.
four actually.
Yeah, because I think it's anyone that puts together a run of 4 wins is going to be jumping in there, because it's not the big points gap, is there? It's going to be, I don't know, it's like 5-6 at the most. That's two wins, two losses, and you're just swapping places with teams. It's going to be a lot of jockeying, I think, and I think not until the turn of the year, I think we're going to see the actual pecking order starting to take shape.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on to a game, the early kickoff on Saturday. Now, it wouldn't be modern day football if we didn't talk about our friend, Mr. VAR, who was again the talking point in this game. Liverpool away to Brighton finished 1-0. Liverpool had 2 goals disallowed, Mane and Mo Salah, and then VAR was back again with the late penalty. I tell you this right now, we couldn't get on the show on time today because our producer wouldn't let us leave our meeting room because he was that upset about the penalty. So he's over there just hiding in the background, walking away. Osama, penalty or no penalty against Danny Welbeck?
Well, VAR gave the penalty. It's a penalty. And looking at it again, as you can see, Danny Welbeck just got a touch on the ball before the foot.
Is that enough contact though? Because look, I like Danny Welbeck because he's a Manchester United lad, but the amount of contact from Robertson and the way he went down as if Bradley Cooper had hit him with a sniper from 25 yards was just absolutely outrageous.
He
Colin.
had to do what he had to do for his team.
Yeah.
And with VAR, players are taking...
Yeah, and I think this is the thing with VAR. You know, you at full speed, it looks one way, but when you then watch the slow mo in different directions, it can make even a foul that wasn't a foul look like a foul. You know, based on the way someone rolls or whatever. So, for me, it was minimal contact. But if you're looking at the way that VAR has been adjudicating, it's a penalty. You know, unfortunately, but as they say, you know, these decisions equal themselves out throughout the season. Which with VAR, I think, does it? Is it going to be that in the long run? And that would be an interesting debate moving forward. Will VAR equal itself out across the teams in the Premiership across the season?
Because I think when it came into play, we're told that VAR was there to eradicate the clear and obvious error from the referees. Now, I don't see that as a clear and obvious error from the referee. And you know, I'm not Liverpool's biggest fan. Everybody knows that. But you know, it's at some point we just have to ask ourselves where is this beautiful game of football that we love going? Because it's just too much interference. Look, it has its strong points, but I think the inconsistencies are what's driving people you know, off the rails. But in terms of the performance itself, Liverpool deserve to win the game?
That's a tough one there. Liverpool, they played well. It was a draw at the end of the game. VAR really just ruined the game. Like any other game, VAR's just VAR. But a draw, I'm happy with that. You know, I'm happy they got the draw.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
I'll take it. I'll happily take Liverpool drawing against a Brighton team that we beat.
But one man that really seems to have found his home at Liverpool is Diego Jota. Another goal for the boys in red. Just how crucial a player is he going to be for this Liverpool side going forward this season?
Very important, and I think this falls into line with what we were saying earlier about managers and Ollie, you know, Arteta. Should they stay? Should they go? And a club's going to react quickly. You look at Klopp; he's had this is his 4th or 5th season, and you could say that most of the guys that he's bought in the last 2 years have just been quality. You know, everyone he's built, and that goes to having the structures in place, having the guys that go and look at these guys. So I think I heard him say the other day that he'd had his eye on him for the last 2 years or so, but he just watched him mature and then identified that he would fit into their style of play. You know, I don't think there's been too many bad signings that Liverpool have made, and that just goes to show that the trust that he has got with the board. If he recommends a player, they are more likely to go and say, "Yeah, we will do it based on your transfer history." So he's got a hell of a squad there, you know, and even with the injuries, they're still churning out results.
You know, it was interesting listening to Jurgen Klopp in the post-match comments, and he brought up an issue again, which I think is quite valid. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brought this up as well a couple of weeks ago, when in England, unlike in Spain or Italy and Germany, those associations they move fixtures around for their big teams. But you know, for Liverpool to play on a Wednesday and then have to play lunchtime on Saturday, not just because it's Liverpool, but for any team, it can't be good for the players. And you know, we're demanding, you know, the optimum performance from players. They've hardly had a pre-season this year. It's a very difficult season. So other managers in the Premier League at the moment, do they have the right to feel aggrieved with the scheduling of the fixtures, or is it a case where you have a big enough squad, why don't you use all the players?
Well, you know, it's the biggest league in the world, right? And it sells rights all across the world. So with that comes the money that goes into clubs. You know, so the billions of pounds, dollars, or whatever it creates, the clubs are happy to take that. You know, most of the top teams have got 25 plus international players on their books. So then it comes down to, if you're playing Salah and Mane every single week, you've got a squad there, you know, and it's about management of that squad. So do I feel sorry for him? No, not really. I think we've overplayed Harry Kane in the past, and we've felt the pain of that when he's been out for 2 months, 3 months, or whatever, because we didn't sign a quality striker to back him up. So I think you can't have it all. You know, you can take the billions with one hand, but on the other side, you've got to understand that you're not getting that money just to play once a week. There's a demand and the rights around the world. People want to see the games, and it's a TV thing, it's a commercial thing.
Absolutely. And so Liverpool 1-0 against Brighton. Over now to the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City just made light work of Sean Dyche's men. 5-0 victory over Burnley. Riyad Mahrez with a hat-trick there, and Kevin De Bruyne pulling the strings from midfield. It looked like the old City, didn't it, Osama?
Yeah, the old City. I would say old City is back, man. The old City is definitely back. What a superb game that they played out there. The game itself, watching the game, 5 goals. It did get boring because it was one-sided, but excellent football for Manchester City. Excellent.
Well, people. Did people jump the gun too early, writing off Pep Guardiola's side this season after the inconsistent start?
I wasn't one of those people, you know, because I think with the quality that they've got, I think they're going to churn out these results here and there. But I think it's just a testament to the league that there's been an improvement across the board. You know, when you look at the possession stats of nearly 70%, you know, and I think you look at the offsides and corners, it's all just heavily in Man City's. And once they get moving forward and they're at home and they start to dominate, they're a very difficult team to stop once they get on that roll.
I actually felt like I enjoyed watching them on the weekend because it felt like their groove was back, and it could have been more. It could have been more. But Burnley, at the moment, Sean Dyche's men really struggling down near the bottom. And I looked at that performance and I thought, okay, is it a one-off, or are Burnley in serious trouble? Could they be facing the drop this year?
I think they're in trouble. I mean, 5 points from 9 games, you know. I think when you look historically at teams like Burnley and, you know, those so-called smaller teams that have been relying on building a team culture, you know, and it's all us against them. Can they sustain that? I think this is what, their 4th or 5th season? I think that's a very hard